Welcome back to How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, Episode 2. This is being episodes 5 through 9. Why 5 through 9, you might ask? Well, because 9 itself pretty much just finishes up adapting Book 2 and starts at the Book 3. That's simple just it means episode 3 would just cover 3 episodes instead of covering 4. Yep, there's a couple things I forgot to mention here. Well, in my last video. One, the fact that when they do the English credits for this thing, they say based upon the manga, even though the series is based upon light novels. It started originally as light novels, but yet they only credit the manga for some reason. Despite the fact that the light novels came out first, then the manga. When I watch series like a lot of other series I watch, you just say based upon the books by this particular writer, not based upon the manga. Which makes no freaking sense at all. Why did I do that for? And in case you wonder for these episodes, the Magic Association doesn't appear in these episodes at all. It's mostly put just continuing a plot thread that was set up back in episode 2 when they reveal that Shira is in fact the princess of the Greenwood Kingdom. These episodes debut of her brother, who is a jerk, and he wants to make an incest baby with his own sister. I mean, seriously, how is this okay? I've never heard anybody complain about this series. I mean, I've never seen reviews for this particular series. It came out only 2 years ago. And here's the thing, next season comes out next year. And also, there's something else I forgot to mention. The light novels themselves, they're really, really short. The first book, I think, is about a little over 220 pages. The book, these episodes, that from, is 218 pages. Yep, 218 pages. So the story itself starts with page, I think it's 8. And I think it wraps up with page, I think it's like 205. Yeah, it's not that long. These books are not very long. And I've read the first 3 books, and I've started to read book 4 before I watch the series. Now for these episodes themselves. Basically, the prince comes to get his sister. She says no. Of course, he sees Flute, which that's going to play a little bit later. You don't see him play it maybe a couple times here, but it's implied he plays it a lot. And so even though she agrees not, she says he does not want to go to the kingdom, he respects her wishes. So he proceeds to brainwash his own sister in order to convince her to come with him to a tent so he can make an incest baby. Yep, I am not kidding about that. This is her brother, and they want to make a baby. Wow, this sounds so gross. But that's a series for you. Apparently in the Elven Kingdom, this is okay to do, despite the fact it's I'm surprised the fact Diablo doesn't say, man, you are not only a jerk, you're also disgusting. I'm surprised he doesn't call him that. And we also have this wonderful scene before she goes out with him. We have just Diablo and her. Of course, Diablo is just staring at her let's just say her big breast. Of course, it's the same actress who voiced Taru from Miss Kobayashi Dragon, and she voices the character very similarly to that one. And of course, at times he would occasionally. Also, forgot to mention that at the start, actually that doesn't happen here. He does in fact does the thing where he tends to put his hand on her breast. So he does stare at her breast, and he looks and he's like, "How do you make these potions?" Like it's not like point and click. And he stares at potions, and all of a sudden his potions like he stares at her chest, and all of a sudden potions automatically made. And he tells her, "Stare at my hands," and he stares at her chest. And once he looks back, apparently he's now first time he did 1, this time he did about 6 of them. Like wow. And then we know, of course, he doesn't immediately notice this, but he notices that the eye color changes when she's brainwashed to go off with her brother. And of course, we also see the debut of the knight Alicia. Yeah, she shows up here as well, and she works with him. And of course, they're hired by the governor, Galahad. Gallant, I think his name is. Yeah, he's the lieutenant general, who is pretty strong. They can't exactly. They never mention what his rank is. Just that he's a very powerful person. So, when Shira is revealed that based upon her actions, Rem knows her best, so they go rescue her. And of course, off screen looks like that. Well, Diablo decides to wreck the camp, and when the prince comes, of course, then he proceeds to slice up in the tent. Prior to this, He's like, of course, the prince is like, man, I really want to make my baby right now. So he released a slime on her, and she sees something like, oh no, that slime is eating people. Like, no, I kind of reprogrammed this thing to do something else. This one doesn't eat flesh. This one eats fabric. And what does it proceed to do? Burn off all of her freaking clothes, with the exception of her panties. I am not kidding about that. That's the only thing remains. By the time Diablo shows up, he proceeds to free her. Though she proceeds to her underwear, though he proceeds to, I think it's Ram who gives her her cape, so she can cover up her nakedness. And then, of course, well, Diablo proceeds to fight Kedra. That is Shira's stupid brother, who fights him briefly, and all of a sudden, hey, why don't I summon my monster? Smash a crystal, and it's a freaking Hydra. Now, I know about the Hydra in Greek mythology. Apparently, Diablo didn't read Greek mythology, so he does know Hydra can regrow its heads. The old saying goes, like Marvel Comics, chop up one head, two more grow in its place. Yeah, that was a catchphrase they used in Captain America First Avenger. And, of course, Tommy Lee Jones says, let's go find two more. Yeah. And, of course, Shira proceeds, and Shira tells Diablo, hey, find the core, and you'll send it back to Chris. Like, okay. Perfectly fine. So he walks underneath it, fries it with electricity, and it disappears. And then he's going to proceed to kill him for doing the terrible thing to his sister. She proceeds to ask Diablo to spare him, mainly because even though he's a stupid person and evil, he's still a brother. He's like, okay, fine. And then he gets his head chopped up by Galad. Yep. And then we have a big brawl between Galad and Diablo. Of course, he puts Diablo in this looks like an electricity cage. It's a confinement one. Though Diablo is able to figure out exactly where the weakness is and disuse and proceeds to battle him for a good period of time. And he also proceeds to put mines on, like magical mines on the ground. And when he hits one of them, he comments on them, this is the first time in 30 years I've been wounded. So what he's been doing, sitting his butt, or at least basically preparing himself. So yeah, he fights him for a pretty good period of time, and then he just spares him. Of course, the guy goes off, and of course, Alice is like, "Man, I'm gonna basically enjoy getting my report based on you for intentionally starting a war between the surrounding countries." And what happened to him after this, I don't know. He probably got removed from his position. And then, of course, well, it was like, "Man, I'm spent." So he goes back. Then what does he do? Sleep. And of course, Shelley decides to come in and gives him some beer to basically sort of recharge his MP. And after drinking one cup of this, he's drunk. And what he proceeds to do? Pull her on the bed, take off her bottom, and he proceeds to touch her groin. And she gets off on it. And then he falls asleep. Yep. Of course, she tells him, "You owe me a new outfit." And of course, that's episode 8. 9, of course, doesn't follow with this at all. 9 opens up with Alice basically taking care of some. It's not Alice. It's somebody else. I think it's actually Airhead basically, who's possible because she doesn't like mortals. So she kills a bunch of people, and of course we see a paladin who proceeds to massacre an entire village because they worshipped a demon lord. Yeah, massacred an entire unarmed village. And man, this man is pathetic. Of course, Alice proceeds to come back after giving her report to the king. Well, the emperor. Yeah, he's an emperor. I just want to make sure I got these characters right. Let's see here. Alicia, yes, I forgot about Alicia. Yep, so she meets up with the paladin. He's like, how did your mission go to the village? They saw enlightenment. Of course, he does not tell her that he massacred the whole village. And he proceeds, yeah, I'm going to this one town. He's like, I'm going there too. Why don't we go together? And of course, she reunites with Diablo. Of course, prior to this, Diablo, Rem, and Shira decided to go like walking about. And of course, well, actually, first they have Shira summon a bird, who basically has a heart attack and proceeds to give the slayman thing. How they do this is quite interesting. They put a symbol on the ground, they summon the creature, they of course take this magical rock, put it in the mouth, they don't eat it, they just and he used it to kiss the bird on the head. And of course, Diablo is given one too because why not? So then, to test the ability of this bird, basically, because it's kind of like a clairvoyance, so he throws the coin out a particular way, has the bird go find it, has the arrow basically point at it, and of course, well, bird cranes it back. Simple as that. And then, of course, then we have they go bathing, where Rem and Shira proceed to strip completely naked. Yeah, they're naked. And they proceed to bathe. Diablo just politely sits behind a rock, not peeking. He does briefly peek. And then he proceeds to basically peek for a good reason, because Elgar shows up holding the naked Rem by her neck and staring at her belly. Yeah, and of course she tells Shira that she has the soul of a deceased demon lord in her body. Yep. And she says, okay. And of course, well, we need to remove it without killing her. So, why not just resurrect her? And then you can kill the demon. He's like, fine. Meet me at the Star Tower in 3 days. Which is the same place that Diablo was summoned to. Which apparently he doesn't tell her that. Probably he'll tell her that in episode 10. This, of course, is for episode 9. Then, of course, we have they run into Alicia, and she tells about the paladin in town. And then Diablo meets him, and first and of course, Rem proceeds to try to talk to him, and he acts like a complete jerk because he has a slave collar. She's not a slave. She's basically, even though she's one of possessed, she's basically treated like an equal. And he doesn't like the fact that he disrespected something he has, so he proceeds to fight him. Well, basically, first he proceeds to nearly strangle her, and he says, oh, it's just simple magic. You just cast the magic. And so he proceeds to try to use a magic on him, though he uses reflection magic to turn him into a freaking statue, and basically cement the casement, so his subordinates carry him off, and don't worry, he'll probably come back. And then, of course, they proceed to tell Alicia what exactly is going on with Rem, because she revealed to her, and she accepts it. She has no problem with it because they're friends, and then the episode ends with Elgar on top of the tower waiting for the group to show up. Yeah, good set episodes. The only character I don't like here, aside from, and of course, it's also revealed the governor actually stiffed him on the pay, even though he actually succeeded in his job. He ran to the war, though he ended up fighting him. I wouldn't be surprised if Alicia probably mentioned that in her report to the Emperor. Hey, the governor who intentionally started this war actually hired him to prevent the war, and he proceeded to pay him. And of course, he's still broke. Yeah. So, who knows? Maybe he gets back pay for that quest at some point. Who knows? And also, when he sees the Hydra, he says that, oh, man, this is what must be some unreleased content here. Like the Hydra he's never seen before, the flu he's never seen before, because there must be some unreleased content because he's never seen this before in the game. Because he probably knows the game from Heart, and you know about the bird because he read around message boards. Yep, message boards, which is very typical for an online MMORPG. Yeah, it's perfectly standard when it comes to games like that have message boards. I have never been on message boards, so I don't know how it feels, but yes, I have seen stuff like this, so it's perfectly understandable. I've been on a little bit of games like that, where I get to proceed to sort of talk to some people, not very much, but I don't go on message boards when I've done some of these online games. And yeah, it seems like that Diablo is like an expert on crossover, like from Heart, and he knew about Shira's family because he's heard about them, though he didn't detail it. And of course, he heard about the Paladins. He didn't know anything about their skill set, but at least he's heard of them. So, yeah. And, oh, yeah, and he says that, of course, they mentioned he's equivalent to 150, at least 100. Of course, he mentions in the first episode he's level 150. And it turns out the Paladin might be a lower level than everyone thought, so there's that. Yeah, good episodes. Can't wait to watch the last 3 episodes of the season, okay? So yeah, that's it for this particular review. My next review of the 2 newest chapters for Case Closed. Yep, I'm going to do that next, okay? See you next video. Bye.